Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jason Laird with your Weather Wednesday. Yes, just because it's Christmas Eve doesn't mean we take a day off. Got to get you that weather forecast, especially here in Montana. We're going to be dealing with some freezing rain, maybe poor travel tonight into tomorrow. So if you have travel plans Christmas morning, especially into north central Montana, might be a bit of a ride. We'll break that down for you. And I got to share a little story with you here really quick. It was funny. So I was struggling, riding the struggle bus, trying to get all the equipment fired up. I'm not very technically inclined. Is that the right word? Some days. Today's one of those days. And it reminded me of a story. Back when I was working in radio one time, I was having some technical difficulties, and I shared on the air the technical difficulties I had. And this lady just emailed me and berated me for sharing my struggles on the air. And I thought it was funny because all I was trying to do was be relatable, much like I'm doing now, and she wasn't having it. So anyways, what do we got going on weather-wise? I digress. Well, we do have a winter storm watch for a good chunk of north central Montana. That's due to a cold front settling in, some warmer air aloft, a little bit of freezing rain, some frost, not out of the question tonight. So Wednesday night into Thursday, Christmas Day, travel plans, north central Montana. The National Weather Service put out a really nice graphic on this here into north central Montana. So tracking a bit of a wintry mix, some light snow, some freezing rain, not out of the question. Some patchy freezing fog and whatnot, very similar to what we saw this morning, kind of frosty out there. The other thing that we need to keep an eye out here for too is some localized ice accumulations. Could see over 1/10 of an inch. So that real heavy ice that kind of drags down the branches and whatnot. Fences looks kind of cool, but can be a little bit hazardous, especially to vegetation and whatnot. We might see a little bit of that out of this storm system. So here's what we got. Area of low pressure tracking in off of the coast, bringing with it some moisture. We've still got, I know it's not warm out, but we've got some warmer air to deal with. So we're kind of on that edge of, freezing rain, snow, wintry mix, that sort of thing. And that makes for kind of a dangerous commute over the next couple of, or next day or so. So if you're traveling for the rest of the afternoon, probably okay. This evening, Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, if you have travel plans, Christmas morning, that sort of thing throughout north central Montana, plan some extra time. Be careful. If you can leave tonight, I know you don't want to camp out with the family more than you have to, but if you can leave tonight, maybe stay the night somewhere, especially in the north central Montana, might not be the world's worst idea. So area of low pressure, this is 5 p.m. tonight. Cold front moving in. That system's going to continue to settle in. You're noticing right there is kind of that freezing rain, wintry mix right throughout north central Montana. Pretty good chance that we're going to see some very slippery spots come Christmas morning. Unfortunately, we're not tracking snow. There might be a little bit of snow into western Montana, southwestern Montana, kind of a light dusting in some areas. But again, wintry mix, freezing rain, that sort of thing is going to be the biggest concern tonight into Christmas Day. As we head toward Thursday morning, so again, Christmas Day, there's still that chance of a wintry mix, some freezing rain as that cold front somewhat stalls out right over top of the Rockies. Moves out rather rapidly, though. We're going to start to see those temperatures climb back up into Friday. Again, it's not going to be warm by any means, a little bit breezy as things start to mellow out for us. But we've still got a little bit of moisture, Pacific moisture to deal with. You'll notice there's that big area of low pressure off of the coast. That's firing a lot of that moisture our way. So we're still going to be looking at the possibility of a couple more flurries, maybe into Saturday, Friday night into Saturday. Of course, we're going out goose hunting Friday morning. Makes for some good goose hunting, but a little cold to be sitting in the duck and goose blind Friday morning. But anywho, you'll notice that moisture continues to hammer the mountains, not much of it making its way overhead. We're into Friday morning now. But again, Friday into Saturday is when that little bit of that system is expected to break over the mountains. So as we put a little bit of animation to it here, there we go, starts to play for us. You can see it's going to pause here for us. As that system settles in, that's that freezing rain, right? We're kind of right on the edge of the freezing rain, wintry mix settling in, a little bit of rain over the mountains. That moves out, but then as we head toward Friday night into Saturday, that area of low pressure throws a little more moisture our way, so some isolated flurries not out of the question. Next 6 to 10 days, we're looking at December 29th through January 2nd. Warmer than average temperatures. So after this little snap, again, things are going to kind of mellow out a little bit. It is going to be a bit windy throughout central Montana as those temperatures climb up. So a little above average in terms of temperatures. Pretty normal in terms of precipitation. We might actually see some across the high line. Nobody's going to argue with that, right? Very dry conditions, especially throughout northern Montana. Little further out, the seasonal outlook, okay? Check it out. Temperature outlook for the season, January, February, March, starting to look at colder than average conditions. If you've been watching Weather Wednesdays for a while, you know why that is. La Nina is expected to fade. I'm going to show you another element that plays into that, especially in terms of moisture. Little uptick. So January, February, March, uptick in the precipitation. Why is that? Well, again, we've been dealing with La Nina, the oceanic temperatures. That's textbook La Nina. But keep an eye out up here. We're looking at sea surface temperature anomalies. So how they're compared to normal, per se. We're starting to see some colder water move into the Gulf of Alaska, all right? That tends to lean toward a negative PDO, Pacific Decadal Oscillation. I know. I try to keep these as simple as possible, but I want you to learn something while we're at it, all right? So anyways, colder water is going to start settling into the Gulf of Alaska. What that does is it helps to generate areas of low pressure and bring that jet stream down a little bit usually. So again, you'll get some systems that fire off, and if that La Nina continues to fade as well, we'll get a little bit better chance of maybe some monsoonal moisture moving up as well. So long story short, when you factor in La Nina fading and a negative PDO, there's a couple other elements we're going to look at. That's what's going to lead to some of those colder temperatures and ample moisture, because not only is there area of low pressure generation off of the Gulf of Alaska, when you get that negative PDO, the atmosphere kind of frees up a little bit when the La Nina fades into more neutral stages. But as that area of low pressure tracks into the United States, you start to get that colder air from Canada settling in as well due to that area of low pressure. All right, so quick look here at your forecast headlines, weather headlines. Bit of a wintry mix, some freezing rain as we head into Christmas. Keep that in mind for your travel plans tonight into tomorrow. Breezy into the weekend, got another little snap of flurries throughout a good chunk of Montana. Again, very isolated, scattered, not a lot of accumulation Friday night into Saturday. A little bit better chance, though, of some snow out into western Montana. And then, of course, mild temperatures here this next week. Kind of a roller coaster ride, but some big changes coming January, February, March as we look at that seasonal outlook. So thank you so much for joining us here on your Clear Source forecast and, of course, Weather Wednesdays. I'm meteorologist Jason Laird. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk at you this next Wednesday.